Okay, cool. So this is the first of probably maybe 3 to 5 videos showing you how my thought process of making an injection mold on Solidworks to then be fabricated on a 3D printer that we use, which is Formlabs Form 3 printer. So my name is Alec McCall. For anyone future kind of going to watch this, I hope that this is useful, this is helpful, showing my thought process. Maybe even just want to learn SolidWorks. And then joining me is Michael Finocchiaro. I like saying the Italian version. Anyways, so this is we're both part of Weaver Lab. You want to say anything, Fino?
Yeah, I have some experience with SolidWorks, but Alec is definitely the specialist in the lab, and he knows everything that's good to know about SolidWorks in general.
Yeah, I'm no professional. I'm no expert. I'm very much self-taught, as is Fino. It's a very simple program once you know how to do it, but it's actually very, very useful and very cool for the things that I'm gonna kind of show you. So first off, I'm gonna show why are we making this. So these are injection molds that we make for macroencapsulation of islets. So these basically we'll inject a certain type of hydrogel into these molds and then extract them out and then test for cell viability and stuff. So hopefully, if you're watching this, you kind of already know that that's what it's for. If this gets thrown into somewhere else that's not in Weaver Lab, just this is a good practice run for a lot of this stuff. So like that stuff I've made is this 1 millimeter diameter spiral. You have like a top part and a bottom part that you basically enclose together like this, and then you inject. So these, which I'll show later in videos, is these injection molds that like flow simulations and stuff. And I've done that for many different types of varieties. So this is a 2 millimeter diameter spiral, and then like a 0.5 millimeter diameter spiral, a human scale with a human scale clamp, eventually some blood vessels that hopefully will be implemented very soon, some capillary beds just to show ASU pride, like ASU stuff, Pitchfork. This is my clamp that I use for all the experiments and these injection molds in general. It's modeled after an adjustable wrench. I'm not really going to go over how to do that. There's a YouTube video you can use. I'll post it somewhere. This is another clamp that we'll be implementing pretty soon. It's a hemostat clamp to be clinically translatable. And then yeah, so that's that. Now let's start into SolidWorks. So I'm using a 2020 version. And it's very similar to most other versions, older versions, but this part is what you're going to start off with. You're going to use an assembly if you have multiple parts you want to put in together. A drawing. I'm going to show what assembly and drawing is at the end of this, but that's basically kind of your schematic of these. Have you used drawing before, Fino? Like
Yeah, it's very useful. Really good for when you need to specifically,
dimensions and everything.
Dimensions and the metrics of whatever you're creating.
Yeah. So first off, whenever I do anything or start something, is a part. And I'm gonna say, I just want to reiterate that this first video is very much just showing you what SolidWorks is. I'm not going to go over what a injection mold, how to make it right now. That'll be in the next video, and now we'll actually have with me is Jarek. His last name starts with a G. I do not want to mess up his name if he's not here, but he's gonna be on for the next one. So whenever you start a print, or let me go through this first. So you have all these different types of tabs right here. So these are your features. This is what how you can kind of move around with. Well, when you make a drawing, then you kind of come to these features to like extrude and make these solid parts. Sketching is when you actually have a sketch going on it. Markup. I don't use I use Evaluate. I use this measuring tool a lot. But other than that, I don't use much else of what's going on here. And you can always, look up YouTube for that. But question?
So just wanted to specify the general workflow will usually be going from a 2D to a 3D structure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you want to do, yeah. And later in a couple videos, I'll show flow simulation. But yeah, you start in a 2D kind of drawing, and then you can turn it into 3D. So these are the planes you get to work with. Front plane, top plane, right plane. To me, I really doesn't matter which one you use. I don't care. But I like to use front plane just because that's the first one and I don't have to like kind of rotate it or anything. So yeah, so then now you can start drawing on this front plane. And I just want to also reiterate that knowing how to use planes and sketching on different types of planes is probably the most important thing you can do in SolidWorks. Yeah, he's nodding his head because it is very much like if you don't know how to work with planes, like you're probably not going to make the desired part that you want. So,
I mean, it helps. I mean, when you're building on a plane, like you'll build up, and you can only build up in that one direction depending on what plane you're using. So, if you're trying to make something pretty complex, you're going to need to start building in multiple directions. So you might use multiple planes. And there is also a function that lets you create your own plane. A little bit more
I'll show that.
complex, but yeah.
Yeah, I'll show that. So when we want to start a sketch, I come to the sketch tab right here. And then I want to press on, or I mean, you can press that. That means it's ready to sketch. When it's blue, it's not. And then when it's like the front plane, when it's red, it's ready to sketch. You also have this IPS down here, which is first thing that comes up. If you press it, you can change between millimeters, centimeters, meters, like all those types of units. I like to keep it in millimeters just because of all the small scale stuff that we work with, I make on SolidWorks. But so let's start off. So first off, we have all these lines. We have different types of circles you can draw, spline tools, different types of rectangles, these center point things, which are pretty cool. Ellipses, these, I don't even know what that's called, octagon or, some sort of gon. And yes,
I just want to give a quick pro tip. So if you really need to create a more like a 2D shape that's not necessarily like a circle or like a rectangle or anything like that, something like more complex and unique, you might be tempted to use the spline tool. However, I would very strongly recommend against it because most of the time what ends up happening to create, and Alec is going to get into this, to create the 3D structure, it needs to be completely enclosed, and splines are very, very bad at that. The program doesn't recognize that it's completely closed, and it will end up just not allowing you to create a 3D structure out of it. But just quick pro tip, just with splines.
Yeah. And that is one thing too, is that difference between, I've used splines. That's what I use it for my blood vessel stuff. And it is complicated to use. It is, but you can always there's always ways around it. And it is warning you when you first start off working with splines, it is not easy. It is very, very difficult. But it's very easy to overcome with practice. So I'll show that a little bit. But first, let's start off with a square here, a rectangle. So I make this square. You can come into smart dimensions and you can make it whatever size you want. So I want 80 millimeters on that one. And I'll do a square, I'll do a rectangle. So 100 millimeters here. So, so now just get out of the smart dimension. And then now we can extrude this so that we come to those features. So our features right here have all these different types of features that we can use. Right now, there's no, there's no 3D model right now. It's just a drawing. So we can't really use any like cuts or any type of cut or fillet because there's no 3D model. So we have to extrude it. This will kind of give you a preview of what it will look like. And you can move it around manually to whatever you want. But if you want something specific, you type it in on these dimension ones right here. And I say 50 millimeters. Goes there. And there you go. You got a little box. So what's pretty cool now is you can basically build anything you really want off this box. You can fillet. You can fillet the corners, which is this button right there. There's different types of fillets you can use. You just have to, if you want to play around with it, you can. But you can like take all these sides right here, and you can fillet. So you have all these edges. You want to show the full preview just to see what you're kind of getting into. You can change the diameter of those fillets. So 5 millimeters, that's what it will look like. So now you have a fillet, right? So you're going to say something,
Yeah, if I can add something real fast. Yeah. Just a good, like, I don't know, mindset when you are creating a 3D structure as well. And kind of how we said planes are extremely important. When you create a 3D structure, each surface, you can draw on each surface of 3D structure. So you can think of it almost as like each flat side of that 3D structure becomes a new plane, and you can draw and cut into that or extrude out of that as well. So
yeah, and that's what happens when you have the original thing. You can do that on most sides, but once you get into more complex, like once you extrude off of this main one, then it gets harder and you have to use more planes and everything. It's just practice. But let me show you another cool thing. So we can use this shell tool right here. And I'm going to press that. I'm going to show the preview. And you can also, this is basically going to shell out this inner portion of this box, right? Instead of you having to go in there and manually cut it out, you can shell it out with like these dimensions here. So if I want, how about 2 millimeters of thickness for this box? And it shows you the preview, and now you have a box that is shelled out. Cool. And then if you've noticed on the side right here, it's basically your history of what you do. You can rename it. So like shell 1 is 2 millimeter thickness. Yeah, there we go. I don't know, whatever you want. And then so there it is. That's your history. You want to make sure you kind of keep control of that. Know what you're doing. But I'm going to actually erase what I just did, and then Control Z is a good way to do that. And now I'm going to show you how to cut through here. So like Pino said, you can kind of build off of these like each kind of side by itself. Oh, and also let me show you this. This is up here is a good way to kind of get a straight on view instead of having to kind of roll it around with your mouse and try to get it as straight as possible.
Yeah, to specify that as well. Yeah, your angle you're looking at is extremely important, and also with your mouse, the way that, because you'll probably noticed Alec was like free form, kind of moving it how he wanted to. You do that by at least with most mouses, I think you click the scroll wheel, and then you move the mouse, and it allows you to move the object around. But that box basically allows you to just like freely choose like what perspective you want to be looking at your 3D model at. But if you're using I highly recommend use a mouse. You can get away with using a trackpad, and I believe if you just use the arrow up and down and left and right keys, it lets you do the free movement around, I think. I believe so.
Yeah. So, yeah, so yeah, exactly. And then when you want to move back and forth, like in and out, you kind of just scroll your mouse, just like you would going down on a page on a document or something. So here, instead of using a regular circle, I wanted to use a hexagon. What is this? Oh, it's something gone. I can't think of numbers right now. What is the six? It's hexagon.
The hexagon, yeah.
It's a hexagon, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then 7 is septagon, 5 is
The pentagon.
pentagon. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I forgot. Well, we'll stick with hexagon. So yeah, so you can change the number of sides with this. So septagon, octagon. It's pretty cool. We'll do an octagon. So now it's set up here. So then we can actually go to your features tool. We can do an extruded cut that will go through this, or we can, again, adjust it to how you would want to extrude it. So let's say we'll do 24 millimeters. We can do it blindly, so it's kind of just you taking it and doing it itself, or you can go up to the vertex, which is this plane right here, like that. Or you can do, there's other things you can do. Offset from surface, that would mean you just take it off the surface into something else. I'm not going to worry about that, but play around with it if you want. 31 millimeters cut. You now have an octagon hole in your box. Cool. So now, is there anything else like basic things that I should show? I'm gonna erase this. Oh.
Or I was just gonna just a short another like kind of mindset thing. I know there's like so many different. It can be overwhelming to see all the different like options, like for like swept cut, lofted cut, boundary cut, the fillets and the draft and shells and all of that and stuff. But the important thing then to kind of keep in mind is the main two things in SolidWorks like that. It basically is the whole program is extruding and cutting, and all of those are essentially just shortcuts for cutting and extruding and making that more accurate. And
yeah, to what you want. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly what you want.
So the swept cut and the loft cut, that'll be very much so in actually injection molds, which I'll show more. So I'm not really going to go heavy on it for this, just because I'm going to show it a lot more in the actual injection molding videos. But I'm actually going to start a new part right here. File. I'm going to do. Actually, hold on a second. I'm going to make another hole just because. Now we have an octagon. I don't know the size octagon. Let's make another hole real quick. Fino doesn't know why, but I'm gonna do it just because. And there we go. We'll do 31 millimeters. Remember that, and it's also, I forgot to smart to mention it. Always remember smart to mention if you want accurate measurements. So let's do 25 millimeters, and then let's do a extruded cut to 31 millimeters. So 25 and 31. Remember that,
25, 30, 31.
25 and 31. Cool. Yeah, this was nothing planned, by the way. So.
This is all improv. It's all improv.
All improv. Yeah, exactly. So, and then let's do this. Let's do a new part. I need to save this one. Save as designs, and I'm going to do apprentice part.
Oh, I know what you're doing.
I'm gonna show mating with a new part. So I'm gonna again select this new part, not assembly. Okay, so new part. So we're gonna sketch. This time I'm going to actually sketch a center line, which is probably one of your best friends as well, is knowing how to use a center line.
Yes.
And there we go. Let me change this to millimeters. When this goes gray like this, by the way, all you have to do is double click and it will come back into actually you'll be able to work with it. If it's these two things right here, if you press X, then it will exit the sketch. If you press this, then it'll also kind of exit the sketch, but it will just make it gray, so you won't be able to really work on it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so so double click to get it back to sketching mode, and then so I'm going to show you actually how to mirror something. You know, what's half of 25?
That would be, oh my God.
12.5.
12.5. 12.5.
And then, so this is what I'm going to show you guys, which is pretty cool, I think.
This is an extremely useful tool for sure. Like,
yeah,
symmetry is pretty much important in almost every single, I mean, 90% of devices, there's going to be some symmetry you need to work with, and this is an extreme.
So mirroring tool is very, very important. Let me just show you the basic way to do a mirroring tool. So we'll actually, let's take my spline, you know, Fino's hate is spline, and kind of make a weird shape. So how does that look, Fino? I don't know what it looks like. Kind of looks like a ghost, like an upside down ghost with like eyes right here.
It's October when we're recording.
Yeah.
It is
Exactly.
October 24th, so we're going for spooky.
Yeah, yeah. So, okay, so this little screen sharing thing up here is in the way. I can't really see what I'm doing. So I'm exiting that sketch. Just kidding, I'm gonna keep it in. Why isn't it doing this?
See, I told you, splines.
Yeah. Hold on a second. Okay, now I need, this thing up here is so annoying. Why is it going away?
What are you trying to do?
It's that, you know, when you screen share, like you have that thing up top.
Oh, okay.
And it's like, I can't see what I'm pressing.
Yeah.
Okay, anyways, let is mirror entities. Here we go. Entities to mirror this, and we want to mirror about this line. See, now it looks like a, I don't know, what does it look like? A bat? No,
ugly
no.
butterfly.
An ugly butterfly. Yeah, there you go.
A fat butterfly.
Yeah.
Thick butterfly. Anyway. Yes.
Yeah. So you want to, you can mirror. So if it's something complex, and you don't want to have to like try to match the same, like the other side, like freehanding it, then using this mirroring tool actually helps a lot. So we have now a completed thing that you can extrude, just like that. So does that make sense? It's cool. Now you can work off that. So actually, again, I'm gonna go backwards, and take actually, I'm gonna delete this. I'm gonna show you something that, you know, you don't have to do this, but this is pretty cool. It's a revolving boss base, and like for, you know, doing our mate that we're about to do, you don't need to do this kind of complex thing, but you know, we're gonna do it because it's fun. So so now we're gonna take our line. What was the diameter? It was 25, right?
25, and the height was 31.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna go here. Just bear with me. 25. I'm gonna do 40. So then, okay, smart dimension. Do 40 millimeters, and then I'm gonna go down. Sorry, I'm bugging here. And then I'm gonna go back across. Actually, I'm gonna make another. So one cool thing about Solidworks is like it kind of tells you where points are when you're on another line, like where to start, and it'll be accurate, so you don't have to like worry about measurements and stuff as much. But here we go. So now that's over. Smart dimension 12.5, right? Yeah, millimeters. Cool. And I'm actually going to delete this real quick. And actually, I'm going to, again, delete this. And make this 31. 31, right? Yeah, 31. And then so this is pretty cool, I think. Hopefully you guys like it. Is this revolving boss space? And then we actually have to. Oh yeah, there we go. So look at that. It's like kind of like a lid, right? It revolves around this, the sketch around that center line. So that's exactly what we want. Pretty cool, right? So now we can actually kind of build off of this plane again. Let's do this. I'm going to make a sketch on here. If this is getting too complicated for people, let me know.
No, I think everything has been pretty easy to follow.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to sketch on here a circle. Okay, bear with me, bear with me. And then I'm going to draw a center line here to here.
Oh, quick note, if you're having trouble figuring out why your thing is not extruding, check for extra lines that could be kind of like going into your 2D shape or something like that. They might be hidden, they might be something you forgot about. Just check for that, because you need to have a completely enclosed 2D objects without anything going in or out in order to properly extrude. Just wanted a quick note.
Exactly. So now I'm going to make this. This will make sense of what I'm trying to do with this line just real quickly. But right now, I'm going to actually not exit the sketch. I'm going to press that button to kind of make it gray. So I'm able to hit reference and go to plane. You're going to have three different references to make a plane. I'm going to have two. I'm going to use two because I'm going to use this point and that point to make a plane. See how it's like making it right there in this plane right here. You can make it bigger, you can make it smaller, you can do whatever you want. But what I'm trying to do is I'm going to make a line. Let's use our handy dandy spline tool again. How about that, Fino? Another spline tool for you?
Go ahead.
What? You don't like the spline?
I don't usually like spline, but whatever. You use the spline.
It's fun. It's fun. I promise. When you're actually good at it, it's pretty fun.
I'll believe you.
I love making the blood vessels and stuff because like you don't have any type of measurements. You can kind of just freehand it, and it's pretty fun. Anyways, so
artistic juice is flowing. Okay.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You gotta have the creativity going. I want to make another plane. Like I said, we should make this a podcast and doing Solidworks and conversations. I bet you that'd be fun for engineering students at least.
For engineering students, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lack of good engineering podcast content out there.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. So you see how these planes are kind of, they're becoming more and more planes, and that's what you need when you're making something that's extruding off and you want to build something, right? That made no sense, but
yeah, I mean, well, basically, it's like you might not have a flat surface to build off of, but
like this, how it's angled, like that, you won't be able to build something off like that. So you need a plane, and when you can press on whatever plane you want, and right now I want to build off this plane because I want to build off that dot. I'm going to do a sketch. Let's do a square. How about a square? Does that sound good, Fino?
Sounds great. Love squares.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, I had a joke and I forgot what it was. Whatever. Anyways, so now we're going to try a lofting. Okay. So you don't want to do a cut because we want to build something, right? So we want a lofted boss base. Profiles. Okay, I'm gonna go from this square to this circle. So you gotta press both of them. This square to that circle. Okay, you see how it's like this, where it kind of goes, you're going from this square shape to that circular shape. It's not really compatible with this line that I made, this spline, right? So we have a guided curve that I'm gonna press right here, and I'm gonna hit this line. Look at that. I know. It looks weird because look how it's off-centered like that. Yeah, so there is a way to fix that. Start and end constraints. I think it's around here somewhere. Well, you can figure it out. It's that is one thing about these. It won't be right in the middle, and you have to.
Yeah. Essentially, you're using that as a guide to that line. You're using as a guide from one to the other.
No, wait, just kidding. No, kind of. No. Next edge, next. Somewhere in there.
As you can see, there's a lot of trial and error in SolidWorks, and you just kind of gotta
play with it. But we're gonna do this. Intersect the section plane. So yeah, so then sometimes you get errors like these where it doesn't even let you build it because, like Vino said, spline is hard, and it is it works when something like this isn't complex. So I'm actually going to take this square off because I just want to show you that it works. It's pretty cool. I think an actual just regular circle should work.
Oh, no, you built that on the wrong plane.
What happened to my plane?
Yeah.
What happened to my plane? There it is. All right, make sure you're on the right plane.
Also, if a plane disappears, you can always go off to the menu on the left side. If anything disappears, you can always go up to the menu on the left side, find it, click it, and then it should highlight it on your actual thing.
So again, let's try this profile. So circle to circle. Look how it kind of does that. Now our guided curve, this should work better just because, maybe not.
So what are you trying to do?
I just want to, let's see if does that work?
Because the spline is technically getting in the way of it, or?
Yeah, something like that. It's just being annoying. Yeah. But this is pretty cool. I apologize for this one not actually working.
I mean, the essential purpose of it is it allows you to, if you have two 2D shapes and you want to connect them, you use that tool and it will extrude, connect both of those shapes.
Yeah, and that's how, like I said, that's how I made these blood vessels. So it is possible. Oh, it's hard to see. In here too, same thing.
We're using lofted cuts though.
Yeah, I was doing lofted cuts. It's the same way. So
it might be kind of why, maybe.
Yeah, it could be. But lofted things are definitely interesting because you just have to have a lot of parameters that work together. But it worked well with the lofted cuts on these injection molds. So anyways, let's do our mate and we'll call this one a day. How about that? Sound good?
Sounds great.
Am I missing anything on these do you think I should go over anything else?
No, not really. In terms of basic things, I mean, I've never really used, there's still a lot of things that I've never used. I've never really used Whole Wizard before, or
You don't want to. You can.
Swept Boss / base I've never really used.
Oh, actually, you know what? That's what happened. That's what
happened. Oh.
I I got to do this now.
I've never used it before, so I couldn't tell you.
So
Oh,
then,
that's interesting.
wow. Yeah. So then this, there's a way to connect that with that, and it is, I think it's on there somewhere.
Probably something for like flush or something. Oh,
Yeah, let's just do that. How about that? Let's just do that. God. Yeah, again, like I said, a lot of trial and error, or like Theo said, at least a lot of trial and error.
a lot of trial and error.
Let's try it. Let's do this. One last thing, I promise. This is what you have to use for building these injection molds. By the way, I wasn't going to get into this today, but we're here now, so
It's okay. You know, I bet they don't mind. I bet they're watching us at like 1.5 speed right now anyway. So
yeah.
it's.
Why is it not doing this? That is very weird. Operation failed due to geometric condition. Oh, I think it's because of this thing right here. It's because it's going in.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. But I'll show you in the next video.
You have it going in.
Yeah, I'll show you in the next video. So nothing. It'll be fine. All right, let's go on to the assembly. Like I said, this was all not planned. Like I had nothing kind of planned for this. It's just going. Okay, let's save that. Part 2. Cool. Now we're gonna file. And we're gonna open. Now we're gonna click. No, not open. Sorry. File. New. We're gonna click assembly. Now it'll be a little different now. So wait, where is it? Did I clicked assembly? No, I guess I clicked parting on it.
You did. No, you did.
My bad.
Because you wouldn't have the other. You wouldn't have evaluate and those other options unless you.
Yeah. No, sorry, I didn't.
Or I'm pretty sure, right?
So assembly. Or you can do this. File. Make assembly from part. That's also easier. So it'll change up a little bit. Now it'll be assembly instead of where it was, I think it was features or something like that. So now we have assembly right here. You want to go to insert components, and we have part 1 and part 2. You're basically just going to drag it out. Got our holes right there. Now I'm going to insert components again. I'm going to go to part 2. Cool. So you remember our front plane was built on this one right here. Our front plane was built on this one right here, or somewhere around there. And so that's why they're kind of oriented differently. But you go here to move component, you can rotate component right here, just like that. You can, just to make it line up a little bit easier. Otherwise, you can just move the component itself, like up there. Cool. So now I want to put this in that hole. It's called a mate. You got a mate. Probably not the most PG thing.
Yeah.
I was gonna make some,
go there.
yeah, I think I'm gonna not make any jokes about it, but who knows? Who knows who's gonna watch this? You know, I don't know who's gonna watch this.
You don't know if you're gonna watch this.
I don't know. So, so yeah, okay. So we're going to mate. Well, what's going on here? There we go. So we have our mate selections. I'm gonna press this line or this circle edge. They're called, the edges are called, edges. And then this one right here. Look at that. They match up perfectly. And now it's like basically a lead. You can do it multiple times with many other things, but right now that's the very beginning. So
You can do that with not only edges, you can do it with like the flat, like the whole flat plane as well. You can do it with, you can, I believe there are other things you can do it with as well. I mean, when you're, when it's not explicitly like a hole that you're trying to mate and it's like two flat surfaces, you might need to do not only the edges, but also the plane itself. But yeah, again, those are just things you need to play with. Yeah.
So cool thing about this is now it is officially attached. Oh, and this button right here, forgot to show you. It goes through different ways you can look at the model. So now there's no like sharp like corners. They're all kind of gold. This one is like a white, like blank one. This one has all of its interior. So as you can see, like this octagon has all the edges on the inside, and you can see where the cylinder kind of hole goes in. And then this one is just all straight lines of the edges and everything. So actually, this is a cool thing to show right here. Is on the inside. You can still, like, you can see that it's mated right on this edge. So you can't move this anywhere off those edges now, this piece. But I mean, you can rotate it. What I was doing earlier is I can rotate this around. It's hard to see on this one. Let me switch that around after this. It's hard to see on this, but as you can see, this kind of arrow thing, you're actually able to move this around. So that's something to keep in mind when you're doing this. And then another thing, I guess before we kind of get off, is you can do this type of like showing like a cross-sectional area of these pieces by just doing that. Now you have a bottom piece of that. Now you can click out of it, it'll go back to your regular. And then this I button will kind of take off all these center things. Again, whatever you want, doesn't matter. You can change colors, just like this. You want to click a piece. How about that piece right there? And I can make it blue. Sound good? Well, now it's a blue piece. And then another cool thing before we go is an exploded view. I want to take this piece right here and I want to explode it on the z-axis going up. So now it's still on that center line all the way to that edge. But now if you want to just kind of explode and see what's going on in there, if it's a bigger piece, you can explode that out. And then you go back to explode view and it'll just go back to its own self.
Yeah, that also helps a lot if you have a lot of different mates going on in one central piece. Then you can explode everything and see all the components in a big overview.
And I'm going to show, like on the later videos, like my adjustable clamp and stuff. Like everything you can rotate around basically, and like have it working like an actual physical piece. And it's really cool. I'm not going to show how to do that. I'm just going to show you it. You can always look up videos. I'm not going to go through every single SolidWorks tutorial on here. But this is mainly for Weaver Lab, and this is hopefully a good way to get started for this video. Hopefully was a good way to get started. So again, you want to save your part. Sometimes you'll ask to rebuild
your monstrous creation.
Yeah, it's like I said, there was no planning in this, right, Pino? Like, do we have a plan?
No plan.
No plan.
Oh, so, baby.
Yeah. So this is all impromptu. The next one will actually have a plan, and we'll be going. I'm going to go over how to make a 2mm diameter spiral. And again,
do you want to do the drawing really fast or?
Oh yeah. So the drawing you can do for each individual part itself. So same thing. Instead of making assembly from part, you want to go from a drawing from part. And you can do different types of landscapes. Just basically showing you what type of like how big it's going to be. I like using A3. It's kind of a good mixture. You can see these letters and you can see all that. So now, same way, I'm going back and forth on my little scroller on my mouse to make it bigger and smaller. And so you basically take any of these pictures here, and you can drag and drop. And then if you move your mouse, it'll basically kind of, like, this will show you the bottom, this will show you the other side of it. It's the same on each side, so it doesn't look like it changed much. And this is more of an exploded view. You just click, and you can and then press escape, and then don't have to keep on doing it anymore. If you want to edit all these down here, I'm going to go to right click to an edit sheet format. You can go in closer, double click, you'll be able to, hi, how are you? From SpongeBob, remember that? The adult SpongeBob, like, hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, anyways, make it lively in here. It's a party now. Right? Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's your drawing. You can save it as a PDF, or you can take a screenshot of it. PDF will turn this white, so in case you want. So I remember, doing these patent documents, and they were specific, like, can you make this a white background, please? And Dr. Weaver told me that, and I was like, yeah, that's fine. I mean, it's the same thing, it's just white. So again, you can use these eyeballs to take things off, but very particular on. And
then using Smart Dimension, you just do all
yeah. You can still use Smart Dimension for things. Yeah. Again, you want to change the IPS to MMGS, which is millimeters, and then we'll change that. Yeah, so there's a drawing. Again, you can save it as whatever you want, and then you can save it as PDF, JPEG, whatever you want, really. So drawing of part 1. Cool. So that's very basic, going from our 2 parts to assembly to making a drawing. You can also do a drawing of this assembly itself, which is useful for the very end product. But going from each part to a drawing to assembly, I hope this was kind of helpful. I hope I didn't really miss anything too easy. Curves is what you're going to be using when you do a spiral. So this helix and spiral thing, I'm going to show that for the injection mold, which I said I'm going to go over the 2mm, how to make a 2mm diameter injection mold. My thought process of making different injection molds, that kind of my thought process of making it like all these different types of ones, and it should work for whatever you want to make. And then I'm going to go into flow simulations of making the flows of, like, the velocity, the pressure, the shear rate of all these different ones. And hopefully my computer doesn't crash when I do it, because it's a lot of power going through at that one moment, especially on Zoom. So yeah, so I hope this was helpful. Theo, any last remarks?
Yeah, I mean, there's what's the term? A lot of ways to skin a cat, or like,
yeah.
Is that it? I don't know. Anyway, there's a lot of ways to skin a cat. That there's, for the most part, a lot of shortcuts. And you could do, with the most basic of basic SolidWorks knowledge, you can make a very complex shape, as complex as anything me or Alec could make. The difference is how long it takes you to make that shape, and utilizing the different shortcuts and tools, because you can do almost anything with just cutting, extruding. I mean, you can do a lot. So
yeah, it's very, once you know all the tools, like how to use all these features, like that's all you're gonna need. And then of course there's more, like you can go to insert, you can go to features here, and there's a lot more here that you can use. Like the flexing, the wrapping, use that a couple times. Scaling, that's actually really important if you're taking something from off the internet and you want to make it to whatever size you want. You have to scale it to the correct size. Splitting, intersecting, again, these are, everything. Oh, threading, if you want to make like a screw and a nut and stuff, like you got to use this threading tool. And there's just so much you can do, and I hope that this was helpful to kind of show you where to look. But YouTube is going to be your best friend. This was kind of a starting point of where to go on SolidWorks, how to kind of look for things. And I'm not going in depth in too much. I'm basically going to be doing everything I just showed you today for making the injection molds, and then the flow simulation, which is different. It's different. So, but it's cool. It's really cool. So, yeah. So I'll see you in the next video. At least I will. You'll see Jarek in the next one. Fino will be Michael. Sorry, call him Fino. That's his nickname for us. His last name. So, anything else?
I think you about covered it.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm gonna stop the recording now and see you in the next video.